What's up, guys? Fresh back to Jersey, came back from New Orleans. It was my first time in the Big Easy, NOLA, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure that there is a ton of nicknames for the place that I am lacking right now. This is also the first time shooting in the No Frills Productive Gents studio. There's probably an echo. I apologize for that, but we will upgrade as we progress. I'm trying to set up this new room for us to be able to do some podcasts and things like that. So this is really just a test run for me here in the No Frills studio. I guess we'll talk about New Orleans. It was my first time, my first trip down there, and I had a great time. One thing that I am going to say is for sure stay off of Bourbon Street. I mean, if you're a tourist and you're going for your first time, maybe just go there, kind of peek your head around the corner, you know, see what it's all about, see the drunk nonsense, the fighting, and all that other good stuff. But if you're an older gent like me in your 30s, you probably don't want to spend too much time there. There's really nothing for you. I did check out a couple cooler streets. I really enjoyed Magazine Street. It was a lot more quiet. The street is super long, and they got a nice selection of shops and bars and cool places to go and check out. Matter of fact, I got this shirt there from a place called Vegas, New Orleans. They have a great eye for stuff. When I was there, they said their website wasn't up, but I do urge you to continue checking to see if it is up or live now after we get this up on YouTube, and check it out because there's a bunch of great selections there. So, my experience in New Orleans, I did have some fun. We went on a gator tour. I don't know what you call it. Airboat, obviously. Duh. And I went with my lady and a couple other people that she was with for a joint bachelorette party, which was the reason that we went down to New Orleans in the first place. Now, I am usually super risk averse when it comes to doing that type of stuff. I'm afraid to even go on a carousel. I don't like roller coasters, any of that stuff. It's just not for me. I'm not super religious, but God meant for me to keep my feet on the ground, and that's where I intend to keep those sons of bitches. It's a little nerve-wracking a few days before I fly, but I do it anyway, and that's how I got to New Orleans, obviously, because I didn't walk there. So back to the gator tour. We went in the swamp. It was the first time for a city boy like me to be down south in a swamp on an airboat, and we did see some gators. We saw quite a few of them, to be exact, and the tour guide actually pointed me out and was like, listen, have you ever been to a swamp before? I responded, no. Have you ever touched a gator before? No. He said, do you want one? My response was, no, a third time. But in this circumstance, 3 strikes didn't mean I was out, because I kind of felt pressure to get up and follow this guy to the front of the airboat, where he proceeded to tell me that I was going to get down and pet the tail of this 10-foot gator that was in the swamp. I think he said it was 10 foot, and I believe his name was Goliath. Now, we didn't get video of me petting Goliath on my camera, so you're not going to see a nice shot. I can probably put something up that we got from Snapchat or Instagram, just so you can get a look at this thing and see the nervousness in my face. And although I was nervous, what was kind of cool that the tour guide forced me to do was to bend down and pick the gator's tail up as he passed by. It took me about 3 or 4 attempts to get it done, and a bunch of prodding from the tour guide to actually do it. But when I did get it up, pause on that, I can always get it up, I'm not that old yet. It was a kind of cool experience, something that I'll never do in my life. Now, looking back on it, when I posted it to Facebook or Instagram, and I had my mom and my aunts and a bunch of other people reach out who were a little concerned, tell me that, hey, cool, you grabbed that gator's tail, but you don't know if there was another gator underneath that could have kind of just dragged me right under. And I didn't think about it at the time, and now that I'm looking back at it, I should have been a little bit more cautious on that. But anyway, great experience for me. Was it fun to pet a gator? It was okay. It definitely didn't feel as I thought it would feel. Gator had some smooth skin. I don't know, maybe he puts on some Neutrogena or something, you know, at night. As I said before, Bourbon Street really wasn't for me. It's just like a touristy spot. If you live here in the Northeast, Hoboken, Jersey City, New York, you kind of know what it's like when you have somebody who comes from out of town and they want to go visit Times Square. You kind of want them to go on their own, and you'll tell them, hey, look, I'll meet you at a cool bar that's on a side street somewhere afterwards. We can reconvene. That's got to be what it's like for anybody that lives down south in Louisiana or New Orleans. Definitely recommend maybe just dropping by saying you went to Pat O'Brien's, got yourself a hurricane or a hand grenade, wherever that's from.
There's a video? Yeah, so this is my first hurricane in New Orleans. What am I drinking? What goes on in a hurricane? I honestly don't even know. It's just like New Orleans juice.
But definitely be up out of there like this. There's nothing for you. It's just too much. There's a bunch of drunk people. For example, I went to the bathroom. I waited in line. I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, man, why is this dude in the stall taking a shit forever? So this dude finally comes out of the stall, apologizing profusely. And I'm telling the dude, look, man, don't sweat it. No worries, no problem. You're all good, man. And he's like, no, you're going to see something when you go in there, and I'm really, really sorry. So when I finally entered the stall, it looked like this dude threw up blood, damn near overflowing the sink. And it wasn't blood. We were at Pat O'Brien's. It was one of those red hurricanes, but it was the most rancid, nasty smelling things that I would ever have to look at. I kind of had to do like one of these in order for me to be able to do my business in the bathroom. So that's what you can expect if you go to Bourbon Street, which is why I highly suggest that you do your thing there real quick, get up out of there, go to the French Quarter, check out some of the side street pubs, or go to Magazine Street, depending on what you're there for. Now, my experience in some of these touristy spots, I know New Orleans is supposed to be known for its food and its drinks. The food wasn't my favorite. I mean, I could have definitely done without it in some of the places I went to. It took the last night. We stayed near the Dome. I know it as the Superdome. I guess now it's known as the Mercedes-Benz Dome or something along those lines. I don't recommend staying there either. You know, kind of felt like we were a little out of place. And by out of place, I just mean it didn't seem like there was much around for us to do. It took us it was like about a 15-minute walk to get to anywhere that we wanted to go. Definitely walkable. I wasn't worried to be walking on the streets. Everybody was friendly. It was a cool neighborhood. Just wasn't much to do in that specific location. However, we did have the best meal the night before we left. We went to this taco joint, and I think it was called Juan Sanchez or something along those lines. I'll definitely post it in the video a little bit later when I get the name correct. I don't watch the Food Network. I don't even know if it's on the Food Network, but the chef was one of the guys from the show Chopped, another show that I've never seen. But I gotta tell you, I mean, I live here in the Northeast. I've been to LA. I love tacos. I make them myself pretty much damn near every Tuesday. These were some of the best tacos that I've ever eaten in my life. I got albondigas tacos, which were meatball tacos, and I got some steak tacos. And man, when I tell you the best tacos that I've ever had in my life, they were the best tacos that I've ever had in my life. You definitely have to go check it out. If you go to New Orleans, it might be a little bit out of the way, but I give it 2 thumbs up. So cheers to you, Chef Sanchez, if that's indeed your name. If it's not, I apologize again. I'll put the right name here. What else? So what else did we do in New Orleans? It's kind of tough to go and explore and have fun when you're with such a large group of people. As I said before, it was a joint bachelorette party, kind of like a mishmash of people. Great couple. I can't wait till they get married. One of my favorite couples in the world, Sean and Mel. If you do watch this, thank you for getting me down to New Orleans, because if it wasn't for you, I probably never would have went. Great time. My lady had a good time too. We stopped in a lot of boutiques and things like that. I also ran into 2 people that I've been introduced to through social media via Productive Gents, Brian and Michael. They live in Monroe, Louisiana, which I was shocked is about 4 hours from New Orleans. And these guys, super cool dudes, made the trip down to New Orleans just to come and hang. Brian has a condo down there, so he had super easy accommodations, but still that 4-hour trip is a nightmare. I would never drive 4 hours for anybody, even if it was my lady. Sorry, hon. But thank you guys so much for coming down. Had a really great time, and it was cool to go to New Orleans with some dudes that have been there frequently. They kind of took me under their wing and showed me a lot of cool spots. We had some beignets at Café du Monde. Part of my accent, if I don't say it well, actually, I don't care. I'm from Jersey. This is just how we sound and how we roll. Those were pretty good. They were like a southern version of a Zeppeli that you get here on the New York East Coast Italian festivals, which we all love. So that was a cool experience. And that was sort of out of my element, because it's really hard for me to connect with dudes because I grew up without a father figure, and a lot of the uncles or older guys in my family really weren't the type of guys that would take you under their wing and show you the ropes. So I've always kind of been a little standoffish with dudes. Connect more with the ladies, if you know what I mean. That wink was probably super ugly, but I can't see it because we're so far away. So I kind of stepped out of my element and said, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot and hang out with these dudes. And I'm really happy that I did, because they were really cool guys that I hope that I can stay in touch with for life. They definitely seemed like lifelong friends, super easy to get along with. So I got two Southern brothers and out of the deal. What's really funny about this is Michael sort of looks like me. He's a little bit more jacked, which I'm a little jealous of. I'm going to do my best to try to catch up with you the next time that we hang out. Bald just like me, beard just like me, some of the same facial structures. So it was kind of funny to walk around and tour a city and look at myself in the mirror. Now, obviously, he's a little bit more of a Southern gentleman than my North Jersey born and raised self, but very happy that I went out there and met these guys. So my advice to you guys is I highly suggest that you face the uncomfortable. And for me, it is always connecting with new people, especially guys. And I'm thrilled that I did. So definitely something that I suggest you guys do is push through the uncomfortable. You might make some great relationships along the way, and it could be a great experience. Okay, guys, we're going to keep this one kind of short because I failed while I was down there, and I didn't bring my camera around with me. If you do follow me on Snapchat and Instagram, you saw a glimpse of New Orleans through my perspective while I was down there. I do wish that I brought this down so you can get a better perspective live on YouTube. Not live, because it's obviously recorded on YouTube. But we will get a little bit better in the future as we grow. That's the key to life, ladies and gents, is learn from your mistakes and grow from them and become a better version of yourself each day. All right, guys, cheers.